Hello. What we're going to introduce to you today is MQ series support for RDVS, or the Rocket Data Virtualization Server, and also all the variants such as the Loader, Spark, or IBM Data Virtualization Manager. With MQ series support, what you get is SQL query support for data in MQ series queues. What you'll do is create a virtual table using a high-level copybook for the data layout, and then that will give you access to query that MQ series queue just as any other backend data source like vSAM or DB2. It also supports MRC or MapReduce client and VPD, virtual parallel data, for improved performance. For MQ series support, you'll need to set the MQ active parm to yes in the IN00 file. And then for creating the virtual tables, you'll need a few pieces of information, one of which is the queue manager name, and then the queue name itself, and then a copybook that describes the record layout of the MQ records. Standard post read exit is supported to manipulate or skip messages if needed, and MRC and VPD is supported, which we mentioned earlier. MQ series support has now been added to the Data Virtualization Studio in build 422 and will be added to the variant studios by the time you watch this video. Now let's go on to a mapping demo. We are now in the Data Virtualization Studio, and what we're going to do is create a virtual table over an MQ staff queue that I've created prior in MQ series. You would right-click and choose Create Virtual Table, choose MQ from the wizard filter, and say Next. Name the queue that you want to create. Choose the copybook that defines the data layout in the queue. There we have it, and you can see that it contains 7 fields. Name the queue manager name, which is CSQ7, and then name the actual queue, which in this case is ts5837.staff.queue. And when you say finish, this creates a virtual table out there called mqcsq7.staff. And you can right click and query on that virtual table just as you could any others. There the query ran and returned these 35 rows. Now that you have the virtual table created, you could perform any SQL 92 queries against it just as you could any other virtual table from any other backend data source, including joins of data sources from DB2 or vSAM to MQ series. Let's show an example of that now. I have another staff table out here, which is a vSAM file called staff.vs. And if you query that table, you can see that it returns basically the same data that was in the MQ series queue that we created the virtual table for, except for that it does not have salary and commission as the MQ series queue had. There's the salary and commission from MQ series. So you could write a join like the one I have above, which is joining the vSAM file and collecting all the rows, as well as collecting the salary and commission from the MQ queue. And if you run that query, you'll see that it returns all the vSAM columns as well as the salary and commission column from the MQ series queue. That concludes this demonstration, and thank you for watching this video.